Hey y'all, hey, welcome back to the channel. So glad you made it. So glad you're here. So listen, this video is going to be a little different than the videos that you have watched before. This video I decided to do because recently I have been finding myself offering a little bit of tidbit of advice and nuggets to future brides, to those who are engaged, and even to newlyweds about their marriage. And so I was like, you know what? I think I need to go ahead and do a video about this. I have a little bit of experience, and so we're going to get into it as we get into it. But first, thank y'all so much for popping in and being like, hey, girl, hey, right? I am Lucretia Haley. I'm a speaker, author, purpose and relationship coach, and certified life coach. And my husband and I, we have a podcast called When Marriage and Purpose Collide. Well, basically, we encourage Christian single men and women as they date with purpose and desire marriage. So it's out there. I'll leave a link right here for you to go ahead and click, subscribe to the channel, and support. In addition, if you are a single Christian woman and you're like, listen, sis, I desire marriage. I'm having a tough time out here in these streets, or I'm having a great time in these streets. I just want to get some nuggets before I get married. This is the one-stop shop for you here. Go ahead and subscribe, and I can't wait for what I have to offer. We have some amazing things coming up on this channel, so do not miss out. Be sure to subscribe. So, what are we talking about today? I don't know what I'm titling this episode, so when you see it, you're going to be like, okay, girl, this is what it's about. But I do know that the mission and the aim for this video is more to encourage future brides that are planning their wedding. Okay, if you're planning your wedding, you're a future bride, and you're like, listen, this is what I need in my life. So if you've been listening and watching me on social media, or if you've been tuning in to this channel, you know that my husband and I, our process for getting married was a little unique in that we met online, okay, in January of 2015. We were engaged that same year, Christmas 2015, and we were married January of 2016. So it was a quite bit of a little bit of a stretch, right, for us. And being Christians and wanting to date with purpose and desiring marriage, we knew that the timeline did not have to be stretched out too long. We knew what God wanted for us. He knew what God wanted for him and his life and our future. So we did the thing and we got married fast in a hurry. Well, for some people, fast in a hurry. For some people, it was like, that was okay. But growing up as a kid, honestly, I can say that I wasn't the one, like a lot of little girls, that desired, that had their vision of their marriage in mind, that dressed up, that thought of the groom, that played with the toys and the bride and the groom and knew all the things and designed their wedding. Like there's a lot of little girls and a lot of teenage girls who already are thinking about that. That was far from my mind. Okay. So when it came to even thinking about my wedding, I did not see that. I was just like, listen, when we get here, when we get here is kind of my thing about it. And some of you may be in my case where it's like, I wasn't a girly girl and I wasn't the one that thought of things like this. So, and if you heard my story before I met my husband, you'll find out that I didn't even desire marriage at one point. So thinking of a wedding dress, thinking of my wedding, thinking of the event, thinking of all the things, it wasn't in my mind, right? Until I met my then boyfriend who became my husband. And that's when it was like, okay, now I get it. I understand. Let's do it. So if you're here on my channel, first off, I want to let you know that I'm not your lifestyle girly like that, right? I'm not the one that you can get the fashion advice from, that you could do and get the design and all the things, the brand name, this and all that. That's not what this video was about, okay? Because if it was, I'll let you know. This is more of just some encouragement and some advice about your wedding. So go ahead and follow those that do talk about all that, because that does help. I did as well, but this is going to be a little different. All right. So, yeah, like I said, I found myself talking to a lot of future brides. And although it's been 8 years since our wedding, there's still some things that I do remember that are still helpful today. It's not that far along, right? It's not that far ago where I can't give you some nuggets. And of course, things have changed. And because things have changed about how people approach their wedding, this is one of the reasons why I want to put this video out, because I've been inspired already about just people who are doing the renewal vows and people who are getting married newly and the planning that goes on behind the scenes. Like, it's amazing what I'm seeing, what you can now do as you prepare for your wedding. Like, it's a game changer now. So hopefully this is one of the nuggets, or this is one of the videos that you'll place in your forefront. Okay. So about 2 years ago, my husband and I went to a wedding, and this was such an amazing experience. Like, it was more than a wedding. It was an experience. And what I remember, even before the wedding, as they were planning for making sure the RSVPs and everything were sent out, I remember that, and this is something that's new that I've seen so far, where there is a dress code for weddings. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is amazing, because when you get to the actual ceremony and when the photographer is taking pictures, it's only right that it would look fabulous if people were all dressed according to your color scheme and what you want as far as the colors to look like and the vision you have for your wedding. So that was something new. Also in this wedding, there weren't flower girls. There were flower ladies, right? And it was amazing. They still dropped the flower petals as they went in. Amazing experience. The bride came in singing. Okay. Came in singing. Now, that's not really new, but it was just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. From the wedding on down to the reception, it was a lot of things that I was like, wow, this is awesome, right? And so in this video, it's more so like I'm just giving you and empowering you, and this is going to lead into the first highlight, empowering you to like listen, like, what do you want to do? All right. So I'm giving 5 highlights. I'm not going to put rules on it, because listen, sis, you can do what you want to do. I'm not going to say this is what you have to do. This is just something for you to think about as you're planning and prepping, and also for you and your future spouse to even think about as you're preparing for your wedding. All right. So first highlight is do what you want to do. All right. Like, and I think because of our time span of how short of time we had to prepare for our wedding, like literally it was less than 6 months, right? We had to think of a location, think of things, like it was so much behind the scenes that we had to be fast paced at, that normally people can take time. We couldn't take time. So what I wanted, I had to put on the back burner and just do what I had to do, right? But what I would say that I wish I should have done is, when I knew that my husband, because we talked about it, we knew marriage was a thing for us. So it wasn't low, like, I don't know, he don't know. Like, I remember him asking me, what time of year would you want to be married? And I'm like, and at the time I was teaching. So I was like, in the summertime. So I knew that first, summer was going to be at least a time of year that I would be married, right? Because he's thinking about things. And so I should have kind of brainstormed a little bit, talked to somebody a little bit about what a future wedding could look like, right? Just to get my mind brewing about different needs, different things that I would like. Like, I was talking to somebody the other day, and she was like, listen, I want a brunch at my reception. Like, everybody's got the chicken and the beef and the this and the that. She said, I want to make a brunch with mimosas. I was like, that's a fantastic idea. If you love brunch, put the brunch in your wedding reception, right? Why not, right? And so what I'm saying here is, what I wish I would have done is just started thinking about it. Like, and I'm not saying that even in your single stage, you could start thinking about it now. You don't even have to have nobody in your life right now, but you can just start thinking about it. Like, what would I like to have? Right. So when the time comes, you're not hawing around trying to figure out, okay, what do I really want? Right. What do it look like now? Of course, you have a husband to think about, right? You got the other person in your life, your partner to think about, and what his wants and needs are. But it's so good that you're now able to like come and be like, this is what I like, and he's like, okay, this is what I want, and y'all could come without, I don't know what I want, right? So my first thing is do what you want to do. Okay. If you want to do it, see how to make it happen. Write it down now and see what it would take to make that thing pop off. All right. So, next highlight I want to say is listen. Preparing for your wedding is a test. It's a test. Whether you pass or fail, it's a test. This is where you should be able to really hone in and do a reflection as you go with your partner about the stress, the high stress levels, the low levels, the intense moments, the less intense moments, all those things, so you can see how it would be like in your marriage. It was basically a 6 months boot camp that we experienced in what a marriage would look like, right? It was just a 6 month boot camp. And this is why it was like a precursor for marriage. And it was a lot of where I had to learn how to release control to him. Like, we all, of course, want our men to be leaders and to lead. So this was the first chance I could be like, okay, let me see what he can do, right? And so, and even if it wasn't to my liking, we could communicate about it, all right? So the first thing I want to say, as it being a test, is the faith and the spiritual connection that we had behind this, okay? So we cannot leave God out of the equation as you're preparing for your future wedding and your marriage. It's just, it won't work. If you're two Christian, a man and a woman, God has to be in the center. Like, you cannot leave that out. And so prayer and guidance was number one, right? Being with or seeking out a faith-based Christian, people that believe in Jesus. Let me just be clear. Counseling, all right? Premarital counseling, even therapy, right, is something we wholeheartedly promote as well on our channel, as far as you're preparing for your marriage, what you should be doing, right? And just making sure you still lean on the word of God, right? Having a support system of people who can pray for you, pray with you in this time, alone and together. Like, that is key when it comes to even starting the process of planning. Once you hit the proposal, right? Once you know that this thing is about to go down, ammo up. Like, ammo up, okay? Because this is what it's going to be like in marriage. The next thing I want to be able to talk to you about in regards to this being a test is family dynamics, right? This is where we had to communicate our boundaries and expectations with our family members, meaning mom, dad, close people who we love. And we had to still be respectful, but we still had to be firm, right? So there was a lot of things that I wanted in my wedding to happen. And it did. A lot of the things that I wanted did happen. But there's a lot of things that other people wanted in my wedding to happen. If you catch my drift, right? And so it was like, okay, I don't see the vision, or I don't know if I want that. And a lot of people were like, well, you should do this because I saw such and such do XYZ. I'm not such and such. Okay. I'm not this and that. I am me. This is what I want. And this is the test. Because in marriage, this gonna have to be the thing too. All right. You and your spouse gonna have to talk about it. Other people gonna they have their comments, they have their advice, they have all their things, but you have to be on one accord with your partner. And so this was the test that we had, where we had to be like, okay, what do we want to do? And how do we say, thank you for your suggestion. However, we're going to go this route, right? Plus, listen, if y'all ain't got the money to say what y'all want to happen in this wedding, then shush. Go sit down. Go sit down. Okay? Because why? Because why? So if this happens, if you come into where your family dynamics as you prepare for this wedding are tested, lean into it. Lean into the conflict. Figure out how to resolve it. Go to God, go to your partner, and talk about it. Okay. This is the test. All right. Next thing is financial management. All right. I know I'm bringing a lot to you about this test, but this is huge. So that's why I want to make sure to bring this. Okay. So this is all in one highlight in itself. Okay. And it's financial management. Financial management. This is where you would have to figure out, like, what are we doing financially with this? How much you have, how much I have, how much people are chipping in, So again, we only had a 6-month period of time to figure this thing out. And we had to figure out who has savings. Did you have savings? Do we need to work extra hours? Is where money coming? Like, all the things had to happen in order for this to go well. And I'm going to get into how we saved money and how much our wedding cost come in another highlight. But I want to say that it was so key how we were able to do all the things and talk with one another about our finances and what was going to happen. Like, we had to be upfront about what I didn't have, what he didn't have, and how we're going to do this. And prayer. Where does money coming from? I don't know. But it was such a blessing how things just worked out in the end for us in a wonderful way. So I'll share that later. Time management. Listen, it was again, like, we were able to see how we worked under stress and what we needed to prioritize first, right? And how we need to also prioritize ourselves and our self-care. Like, as much as we were planning for the wedding, we still had to plan for the marriage. We had to prep for our marriage, for us. We had to make sure we were okay spiritually, mentally, physically, all the things, right? Still exercising, still eating right, still doing all the things. Like, we could not let that go to the wayside. We still had to make sure we had to go to our accountability systems and making sure that we were still okay. So as much as you're planning and preparing, manage your time well, okay, with this, all right? As you prepare, manage your time well. Okay. The other part of the test is communication. Like I said, all of this, we communicated. All of this was in one communication. And what I want to say is that we talk about this system a lot. And I'm going to post a link to the video of our check-in system and how we do check-ins. And this started in our premarital season, where we checked in. I believe at the time we checked in weekly, I want to say. And then now it's bi-weekly. But we went over different topics of discussion that we wanted to share with one another, our concerns, our affirmations, financial, how we need to work out each other's love languages, all of the things we did in this check-in system to help us communicate. So it was easy. It became easy, I should say, over the years, but it was very hard for me to express my concerns to him because I feared hurting his feelings. I feared that what I said was going to break him down. And in essence, how I said it was more so the case than what I said, because everything still needed to be said, but it's the way I said it to him. And so this was practice. This was practice rounds, right? Of what I should be saying and what he should be saying to me, how he needed to correct me. It wasn't all him. It was me too. We needed to be on one accord because we're planning this wedding together. And so it's the communication game changer, the check-in cheat sheet. It's available. I'll have it in the description. It is for those who are newly engaged. It's for if you're seriously dating. It's for those who are married. And we have some great testimonials of people who actually use this system and have transformed their communication in their season. So that's what we did. That's where it began. And then, of course, it helped us with problem solving, conflict resolution in this. This was a test, right? When you're dealing with family, when you're dealing with time management, when you're dealing with, okay, did he check on the tux? Did he figure out where the location was? Did he do XYZ? Did I do what I was supposed to do? Like, how do we come about it if it wasn't solved, if we hit a season where we're like, okay, where are we going to get the money from? What are we going to do? How are we going to figure this out together? Okay. And I can say that's how we do life now. That's how we do life now. We hit a rough season. We hit a rough patch where money needs to be had and we ain't got it. How are we figuring this out? Right. Same thing, just in a boot camp season. Right. That's why it's so important to reflect on what you're doing through this season, not just thinking solely on the wedding. Right. This is so much more. This is about your marriage. All right. Next highlight, okay, is ask for help. Ask for help. Let me say it again, because some of y'all ain't listening. Ask for help. And if you're a person like myself, it's hard to ask for help. It's not the first thing that comes to my mind. I'm always trying to figure out how I'm going to do it and how it's got to be done by me and how we're going to get this done, or how it's going to be done by him, because it was hard for him too. So we both had to learn how to ask for help during this season. And so I was going to say the budget for our wedding and how we were able to keep ourselves under it. So we were able to our wedding was less than $5,000. Wedding was less than $5,000, and I can't tell you how much less than 5,000, but I know we didn't go over that. Now, minus my wedding dress. So the wedding dress, put that to a whole nother. That's over there. That's over there. I'll probably have to do another story about just after the proposal. But long story short, I was in California, got proposed to. I went and found the wedding dress that weekend. Like it went down. Okay. So I just went and the dress that I saw, I was like, I want, and that was it. Started making payments on it, kind of situation. That's what happened with the wedding dress. But as far as the wedding itself, less than $5,000. And what I can say is I used people around me that were willing to help me for low cost. And a lot of who helped me were those who were startup businesses or those who were small business owners. So it wasn't the major contribute, like those people who had the chains and things like that. It was like, who out here do I know that does quality work, does it well, but for the low and not for the high? So that's kind of how it happened. So in essence, my brother-in-law, he was able to be the chef for our wedding, and we wanted Asian food. Like, we are big on Asian food. Every time we go out, it's got to be something, okay, in the Asian family. And so we were like, this is what we need to have. So we had him make up chow mein, fried rice, egg rolls. We had all the things, right? It was so fantastic. So we had that as our wedding food, and it was all from my brother-in-law that he was able to do it. We paid for the food. He cooked it for the low. The invitations was done by a friend of mine. She started her, I was going to say, the stationery business, I guess you could call it, and where she designed cards and different designing of different invitations, basically. And so she was just starting her business. And so she was like, hey, how about I do your cards? And that way it could help me promote my business. I'm like, cool. So that was definitely low cost. I think we only paid for the shipping or something like that. Like, we didn't even pay a grand amount for that. Someone who had a business at the time, she no longer has it, but it was a business where she was doing the decor for the tables and the chairs and what the aesthetics of your wedding looked like, along with her husband was the DJ. So it was a package deal where you get the DJ and you get that. And I was like, wait a minute, this is a thing? Like we could just do it. So we hired them. Boom. Okay. I wasn't even that high at all. It was a great for where we were, right? Deeply discounted, I would say. And it was just basically finding people who did the photographer. She's been out for a while, but it wasn't where she was doing. She knew that our pictures can help her promote her business as well. So, and she just started. And so it was, well, she's been out for a while, but she did weddings and things like that. But while I'm just basically what I'm saying is we were able to choose the people that we knew around us. Okay. And that helped us with creating low cost for our wedding, right? My sister did the flowers. We just went to the dollar store. We went to Hobby Lobby and she put the arrangements of flowers together for the bridal party. Right. And I think we ended up buying or doing something for the guys, the flowers they wear, you know what I'm talking about. It wasn't grand. And then the cost for we had the wedding at our church and we had the reception in the lobby area of the church. And this is what I can say here is that I had to be okay with it not being grand. And I was fine with that. Now, some of you were like, I want XYZ. I want it to be high end. I want this, that, and the other. Great. Just do it. If that's what you want to do, do it. Money to make it as grand as they want. They end up waiting 1 to 2 years before they got to get married. And we weren't about that life. We knew what happens if we was to wait a little longer, right? So we had to make a choice and be like, do we want this or do we want that? Knowing that we can get married and we could plan something greater for our vow renewal. That is totally fine. But I'm gonna say the wedding was spectacular. So it was great. So I'm gonna probably see if I can show some pictures of everything when as we go and see if we can do a roll of some of the pictures of our wedding. So next is, okay, so that was highlight number 3. All right. Highlight number 4 was confession for me. This is a confession that I did feel guilty for not being able to invite people that I should have invited. And this was after our wedding. So it wasn't like, man, dang it, I invite such and such, or I need to invite such and such. It's too late. No, it was like I realized who I did not invite or who wasn't there at the wedding until after. And I was like, oh snap, I forgot to invite her, forgot to invite him, forgot to invite her, forgot to invite him. And so that dealt with me a little bit because I felt like I didn't think through it. But again, we only had this amount of time to make sure we just had the invitations out. I think we got the location got engaged in December, figured out the location in February, had to get the invitations out by the end of February because we wanted to make sure people were able to get prepared for those who are out of state or whatever to come to Kansas City. So it was a thing. So I was just thinking of the people that I knew and kept it moving, right? Because we got other things to think about. We got other things to plan for. And I do remember where I was sending the link to our invitations to people who I was like, oh shoot, I forgot. But then I realized that were these people even close to me? Like at the end of the day, I had to check my motives in regards to who I was inviting to my wedding. If I haven't talked to that person in years, we ain't seen each other, we ain't communicated with that person. It wasn't somebody who I was close to. I had to be okay with not letting them be in our wedding. But for some reason, I still held to this fact that I still want everybody there. But why? Why? Right? What is your motive in regards to who you're inviting, is all I'm saying. Take that as you will. Invite who you want. Don't invite who you don't want. What I'm saying is, in this highlight, is check your motives when it comes to who you aren't inviting to your wedding. And if it's financially, then that's it. If it's I don't want them there, that's it. It could be a plethora of things, but check your motives. Is it in the right place? Is your heart in the right place in regards to what you're doing and who you're inviting? Okay. Next, highlight number 5. I try to make this 30 minutes or less, and it went a little bit over, but we're going to do it. Okay. So highlight number 5, and this is a doozy. Okay. I'm learning this as we speak and after 8 years of marriage, but I'm loving what I'm saying. If you can't do it, hire somebody to do it. If you can't do it, you don't have the capacity to do it, you don't want to think about it, you don't want to put too much energy into it because you know you're going to get exhausted, hire somebody to do it. All right. I kid you not, it might be less money if you hire that person to do it rather than trying to figure out how to do it on your own. Because this is the thing, they'll be the one-stop shop person for everything you possibly will need. And they might be willing to work with you depending on what you're needing. Again, if your wedding is grand, hi, if you got expensive taste, your person you hire to help may be in that bracket. But if you just say, I need somebody for this, just help me with this, it might be lower. Also, think about if you want somebody to just plan the ceremony, or if you want somebody to just plan the logistics around the reception. The reception is a whole ball game. Is y'all been to some receptions? I know you have, where it's like, when am I getting up to eat? What's going on with this? They missed my table. I don't know what's happening. Was the dance there or not dance? Is it photography time? What they doing back there? A wedding planner can help situate all of this stuff, right? Around where you ain't got to worry about it, or you ain't got to put your guest in the back burner. They would be the one to think this through while you taking your photos, you back there doing what you need to do to get ready to come back out, whatever it may be, right? Figure out where you want that person. And it might just be a family member, a family member who's great at planning, right? A friend, a close friend, a coworker, whoever it is. And they may be like, oh, I could do it, right? And they might do it for free, or they might say, oh, just give me such and such, like, because they love you and they see your wedding, they see your vision, they might just hop in. Like, think about how you can do that. Outweigh the cost. Is it worth somebody doing a ceremony? Is it worth somebody do the reception? Like, do you want somebody to do the whole thing? Anything like that. I'm saying this because it was great to I had family help out with the reception. The church had somebody to help out with the ceremony. So when we purchased the church, or reserved the church for the wedding and reception, we actually had somebody that on staff that they came and helped us with planning the ceremony, right? So that was key right there. So that might even happen for you as well, where it came with the package, right? So think about those things as you're going through and thinking about the logistics. Again, I'm not a wedding planner. I'm not an event planner. I'm just going off of what I know and what I feel people have done also, right? Figure out your point people and who those people can be for you, right? A lot of times people are willing to help and support, but you might not know where to put them. Somebody may be great at planning and you want them to be a part of the wedding, but they might not be bridesmaid material, might not be groom's material, but they could do this, right? They might have a job where they're management of staff and team members and stuff. And you're like, you'll be perfect for this. Like, I just need somebody to do this. Like, think outside the box when it comes to this so that you won't be stressed out. Okay. So I'm learning that now. I'm hiring people right now for everything. Hiring, can you do that? Can you do that? Can you do that for me? Less stress. Boom. All right. So listen, thank y'all so much for tuning in to this video. I really do hope it encouraged, helped in any way. If you are married and had a wedding and you want to give some tips to future brides, go ahead and put it in the comments. Let us know what you did differently, what you would have done differently, all those things. If you are newly engaged and are figuring things out, go ahead and put some tips of what you're doing, what you found out for yourself, and comment below if you just hear and you liked any of the highlights that I've given today. All right. I love y'all so much. Thank y'all again for tuning in. And as always, catch you next time. Peace out.